Manifestors. So if you're a manifestor or you have a manifestor child, this video is for you. And I'd encourage you to watch it more than once because some of what I'm going to say may not land the first time, especially if you've been conditioned away from your design for a long time, which many of us have. Manifestors make up 8% of the population. That's not many. And up until the last 100 years or so, all the big leaders in the world were manifestors. Now, this is because the manifestors have something very specific in their chart. They have a motor center connected to their throat center. They were literally born to initiate, to communicate, and to bring new ideas into the world. In the house building analogy that I used to explain the types, manifestors are the developer. They're the ones that sees the piece of land and has this big vision for what could be built there. They can see the housing estate, the community, the possibility before anyone else can. They're not here to do all the building. They're here to initiate the idea, communicate it, get it moving, and let others do their part. The success language that we've all grown up with, just do it, take action, hustle harder, that was actually created for the manifestors. But even manifestors aren't designed to be in constant action. Their energy comes in bursts. An urge hits, they move on it, and then they need to rest. The rest isn't laziness. That's part of their design. And when there's pressure to keep doing, it actually shortcuts the urges. So the more they push through without resting, the less aligned their next move will be. Strategy. The manifestor strategy is to initiate and inform, and this is one of the most important things to understand about manifestors, especially if you're parenting one. Initiating means they are the only type that doesn't need to wait for something external. 92% of the population has to wait for a response, for an invitation, or for clarity, but manifestors get an internal urge and they're designed to move on it. The urge comes from inside. It's like a compulsion, a knowing that it's time to act, and when they follow these urges, their action is effortless. Informing is the second part, and this is where most manifestors get tripped up. Informing is not asking permission. It's not checking with everyone around them before they act. It's letting the people know who will be impacted what they're about to do. I'm going to do this, not can I do this. That's a huge distinction. Manifestors have a very powerful self-contained aura. Energetically, they don't need cooperation from the outside world to move forward. And that energy can also make other people feel like the manifestor doesn't need them. So informing is how manifestors bring people along without asking for permission. It's how they maintain relationships while still honouring their need for freedom. There's a beautiful analogy about this. A manifestor is like a train driver. When the train pulls into the station, the manifestor can inform everyone, this is where we're going. The people on the platform who want to go to that destination can get on, and the people who don't just won't. And then the manifestor can drive off regardless. Now that is how it's supposed to work. The signature and not self. When a manifestor is in alignment, following their urges, moving freely, resting in between, they will feel peace. Not the kind of peace where nothing's happening, the kind of peace where they're at peace with their own process, free to be themselves without constraints. Now, when they're out of alignment and their urges are being suppressed, or when they're being controlled, or they're being conditioned to be the good girl and not offend anyone, they will feel anger. And this is important because most people have been told that anger is a bad emotion, that you shouldn't express it. So a lot of manifestors don't have a healthy relationship with their anger. They push it down and it becomes this low-level irritation or rage that just sits under everything. Now, the anger is actually a gift. It's a signal that something is off. The faster a manifestor can recognize it and course correct, the faster they can come back to peace. But if they've been taught to suppress it, it just builds and builds. Conditioning patterns. Manifestors are often conditioned to dim themselves because their energy is so potent. People around them can feel uncomfortable. They may have been told things like, you're too much, stop being bossy, who do you think you are? And so they learn to filter their urges, to people please, to hold back, to ask permission when they were designed to inform and initiate. Structures and systems and shoulds are incredibly restrictive for manifestors. They've likely grown up surrounded by systems that don't serve their energy, and those systems taught them to restrict, filter, and push down those urges. When you have external dictations on a manifestor, they will be out of alignment because freedom is their friend. There can also be a fear of pushing people away because their aura is so self-contained it can signal to others that they just don't need them. So manifestors sometimes resist asking for support, even when they're absolutely designed to ask for what they need. Now let's talk about parenting a manifestor child, because this is where we can get really practical. Now, if you have a manifestor child, you probably already know they are fiercely independent from a young age. They do not want to be told what to do, and that is not defiance. That is their design just showing up from day one. The single biggest thing you can do for a manifestor child is teach them to inform rather than ask. Instead of, Mum, can I go outside? It becomes, Mum, I'm going outside. Now, this is just a small shift in language, but it completely honours how they're wired. And you, as a parent, can still have boundaries, of course. You can say, okay, come back at 5, or not right now, maybe in an hour. You're not giving up your role as a parent, you're just meeting them with their design. Their energy comes in bursts. They may be intensely focused and active for a period, and then they may crash and need downtime. Don't force sustained activity. Don't fill every hour of their day with structured things. They need the freedom to follow their urges and then the space to rest when their energy drops. And when you see anger, meltdown, or rage, look at where their freedom has been restricted. That's almost where you'll find the cause. Something or someone has been suppressing their ability to move, to choose, to initiate. Give them some space, let them follow their urges with some gentle guidance, and know that this child is designed to be impactful. And your job isn't to tone them down, it's to help them to learn to communicate their impact with compassion. These children thrive when they feel free to be themselves without conforming. And when they're in a state of peace, when they're free and rested and following their urges, you'll see the most beautiful version of them.